turn our focus to helping your boards align with the chapter plans for the year. ASID's strategic plan is the plan for the entire society. That's why it's so important that you make sure that the chapter strategic plans are in alignment. Your committee really should focus on discussing, evaluating, and creating, in some cases, the short and long-term tactics that your chapter will implement across the next year to support ASID's mission and goals, and to make sure that you're keeping your chapter and your members successful, relevant, and engaged. This is an example of how the headquarters staff incorporates the strategic plan into our work to state the metrics that all of our programs and efforts will be graded against. Some of the metrics that are listed on here are things that we have to get to from the headquarters side. So we're having to kind of work backwards to say, if this is our goal, what are we doing to get us closer to that? So it's kind of similar in some ways for what you all are doing, except you're focusing on a smaller time frame. You're focusing on the 12 months between October 1st and September 30th of the fiscal year. And in addition, we will be sending out 2 resource sheets. So the first document will help explain the strategic pillars of the strategic plan. So while I encourage everyone read the strategic plan from cover to cover, this is a good sheet that you can use when you're having those discussions to try and keep people focused on, is this topic or program that you're talking about, does it align with both the chapter goals and does it align back with the larger strategic plan? And to take that to the next step, the second sheet that we'll be sending out here is a visual exercise, so that when you get to the point when you're actually thinking about programs or even general ideas, you can have your committee consider the different elements and factors of the strategic pillars, different target markets, the career stages. So if I was going to fill in this for an awards program, is the way that it is structured really focusing on design impacts life? Is it somehow recognizing the diversity and inclusion aspect of all the different practices, specialties, and other elements that we've been talking about earlier? As designers, you're used to creating spaces for different needs, situations, and environments. So when approaching your chapter's process for strategic planning, it's important to think about how your chapter will put together this process and to be intentional in designing it. Let's delve into this a little bit further. As you are designing your planning process, it's really important to determine, what do you want to accomplish in each of your sessions? How many meetings do you need to have between now and when you have to have this plan finalized, discussed, and presented to the current board so that it can be submitted to headquarters before August 31st? How many sessions do you want to have? How are you going to explain this process and prepare them for participating in the strategic planning process? How are you going to make sure that you are recording the results of tracking the decisions? And how are you going to communicate these results as you're going through the process? Your role here really is to be facilitating the dialogue. Advanced planning for your strategic planning sessions is key. Really identifying what you want to accomplish in each session and making sure that you have a prepared agenda, that you have also prepared people with the data that they probably should be reviewing in advance so that they're not coming into the meeting cold. These are all things that are really important. I do want to emphasize that for your very first meeting, it is important to set the ground rules. You want to make sure that people understand the overall process of why the chapter is engaging in this process and what is supposed to happen at the end, but then also helping people to understand what are some of the rules around confidentiality, around how things will be communicated both internally and externally, and really as a facilitator, making sure that you're keeping the discussions on track. The excitement and enthusiasm can sometimes cause a tendency to start pressuring changes to the current direction of the year. Remember that while you are planning for the next year, it's important to still be respecting the direction, projects, and tactics of your current chapter board.